When she first started out in the Bay Area, I remember her vividly and was highly complimentary and not outrageously supportive. But I mentioned the fact that Ann Makovec, who is still at CBS News Bay Area, KPIX, and I have used the word reinvented, reinvented herself. Obviously, this is my opinion, but I've been really, really critical of various people, not necessarily Makovic, but in particular, I don't watch a lot of local news in this time slot. I'm usually on the internet or on the phone or gathering up important information with regards to this position. But I have noticed, much like I noticed a familiar anchor who's no longer local but more national, and that's Liz Cook, who I thought and continue to think has become a major force in the anchor situation at the CBS News 24/7 site. That, of course, is the CBS streaming site, which does a great job. In fact, I will probably be watching, among other outlets, I'll probably be watching the CBS News 24/7 coverage of the funeral of the Pope on Saturday. But with regards to what I'm talking about now, I want to be very clear in my assessment of Ann Makovic. I, as I just indicated, was supremely complimentary. I thought she was vastly underrated. I thought she was terrific. And then she kind of, in my look, not a big deal. I thought she kind of went all over the place. I mean that figuratively speaking. I thought that they were, for some reason, the powers that be at CBS were moving around. They didn't really give her a prime time position. When I say prime time, I'm talking about 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and of course, late night, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, what have you. But that wasn't necessarily a or an indictment on her work. She'd become, in my book, a reinvention. I think she's become a lot more serious. Not that she was anything, profoundly giddy. Far from it. To the contrary. She's reinvented herself in my book in this manner. I look and observe tone, right? And that's a very, very subjective device. But I look at each and every, and whether it's a man or a woman, what have you, I want to see the tone in which they do their work. Of course, anchoring is very subjective, as it is. But when I say tone, I'm talking about the manner in which they, of course, deliver whatever they're delivering. Could be great news, could be bad news, could be very serious news, that kind of a thing. And I think Makovec slightly changed her demeanor. Not that she was terrible or anything even close to that earlier on. I just think she's become a lot more. Again, this is such an unworkable word. Why am I even thinking of irresponsible? Any event. I like the tone now. I think she has a much more crisp delivery. I'm talking about Ann Makovic. I think she's a lot more, shall we say, focal and a lot more intriguing. And she comes off, quite frankly, in kind of a network looking, network evoking kind of an image. That's a lot on your plate to decipher, especially on a Friday, but just consider it. Again, as I used previously, I talked the same sort of elements with regards to Liz Cook. check this site out, this CBS News 24/7. And you can get it via the CBS News Bay Area site. You click on it, you watch it, and they do, frankly, a lot of good work. I thought they had sort of a maybe peaking too high moment and thought that they might have become a lot more, shall we say, blasé, but in fact, just the opposite occurred. And you can actually get really, really solid news coverage by looking and observing. They do a lot of good work. Some not so good, but they've only been in existence less than a half a year, so give it time. Makovec, in my book, is worthy of a view at 6 o'clock, perhaps 5 o'clock. Not replacing anybody at all, because nobody's done anything bad. Nobody's done anything. Nobody's left on their own volition. Nobody's decided to do something else. I just think for what she does and how she does it, she deserves props. I've noticed it. I like it, and I'm giving her a plug. So take a look at Ann Makovec. She's a Bay Area news veteran, and I'm sure she's a solid work in progress and beyond at PIX. So wanted to say, hey, look, hope you guys have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of the day and the evening.